All right, welcome everybody. This is a What's Up For You call, and hopefully you're putting your questions in the chat so that we can answer those one by one. And let me just say that just energetically right now, the energy is pretty wonky and pretty much of a push. I don't know if you have saw the newsletter that I put out last week on the 1st, but we were really talking about November being just this push of energy to kind of almost get us to shift or to change, or maybe even to build up an amount of energy so that we could let something release or let something pop, so that we could really begin to have a brand new perception of ourselves. So if you haven't seen that newsletter, you might want to make sure that you do. It was pretty precise as far as what's going on in the month of November. So anyway, so let's just take questions and we'll kind of go from there. And if, as this energy moves, we might do a little piece of energy work at the end. So what have you got for me, Sharon?
All right, this first question is, my grandson, 6 years old with autism and a 4-year-old, has started to take a protector of his older brother. Is this typical? I believe this is due to their parents' stressful life of trying to provide for them, balance the different abilities, and shame of feeling that this is not what they signed up for. How do I help, and what can I do to support them?
So just, I need some confirmation. So is the 6-year-old the one diagnosed with autism or the 4-year-old? So is it the younger brother supporting the older?
The 6-year-old has autism, yes.
Okay, so it's the younger brother supporting the older brother. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Well, the first thing that the younger brother says is, we're a team. We're a team. We're in this together. We've got this. You know, we can do this. So very much supportive, you know, not just of the younger brother to the older brother, but in both directions. I mean, it may not always seem that way coming from the 6-year-old diagnosed with autism, you know, that it happens in reverse as well, but they have a really interesting energetic bond and connection, and that's going to last their lifetimes. You know, I mean, that really is something that's really important to both of them, whether that's overt at 4 and 6 or not. It's definitely on its way. I mean, it's definitely just going to continue to build, is what I want to say. As far as you're helping in that situation, let me see here. You know, I think it comes really right down to when you have the opportunity to really recognizing that they do have that bond, to really recognize and point out to them, you know, how strong they are together and the gift they are together. You're not really, doesn't look like you're really going to make a lot of headway as far as the stressors that are going on in the home. And you know, because a lot of times when there's an outside source that comes in and tries to make a change there, they're not really always met with a lot of appreciation for that attempt, you know, and a lot of that's coming just from the fact that there is a lot of stress there. So, and that's okay, But what we can do is we really can encourage and support and recognize what these two kids have going on together, and also recognize that, you know, if anybody's going to, you might say, change their parents' minds about what's going on in the world and how to navigate the world, it's going to be these two kids. So they're going to be the ones that are going to yeah, make a shift and make a change in that. So your support is really in supporting them in whatever way you can. And by that, typically that kind of support is encouragement, is acknowledgement, is confidence building, and those kinds of things. So, yeah.
All right, this question is, my son, not quite yet diagnosed with autism, he's in the process, shows signs of Tourette syndrome, loud involuntary sounds and movements. What is this related to? And thank you for all your energetic perspectives.
Let's see. How old is he? 6. Okay, thank you. Let me see here. Okay, we're going to do a little clearing here. Just move some energy a little bit while we're talking. And that statement is not necessarily because anything's quote unquote bad. It's just, he's just dealing with a lot of energy, and quite frankly, he's capable of dealing with a lot of energy. So to me, it looks like, let me say this. A lot of times in children diagnosed with autism and or those who show those kind of characteristics, a lot of times those children will be, they will be acting out or moving the energy of things that are not said or not expressed within the lineage. And so these big bursts, these kind of big bursts of energy that are coming through him, my guess is that that might be somewhere within the lineage that has been restrained or constrained. And so what I would suggest first is just, give yourself a little look back in the last few generations. And it may be that, I mean, most generations, well, generations before mine, you're younger than I am, generations of mine and the 2 after that, or 2 before that, are, those generations had other restrictions and constraints around what they felt comfortable saying and what they didn't feel comfortable saying, what was okay by societal standards and what wasn't. So this isn't a shame or blame game. This is really more of an understanding that there might have been some powerful energy a couple generations ago, or even a generation ago in this lineage that just did not get expressed. And so here comes this beautiful little one kind of going, okay, I've got this buildup of energy within me and I don't know what to do with it. And all of a sudden it's like, I can't hold it back anymore. So it just breaks through. So there's nothing that he's doing that's wrong or bad, or there's nothing that's broken or anything like that. First, I would acknowledge the fact that, wow, whatever that energy is for you that is building up, it's okay to let it go. It's okay to release it. So we're not going to make the behaviors of Tourette's, quote unquote, wrong. We're going to acknowledge that as an energetic capacity and an opportunity to release what really isn't his in the first place. Yeah, so let's have that conversation with him first and foremost, so he doesn't think that he's wrong or bad by, and especially it's got to be a little bit scary for him too when he kind of involuntarily is acting something out, so let's have that conversation with him first, and let's release some of this pent-up energy. I'm seeing it in the generation before yours is where I'm seeing it, and I'm seeing it actually more maternal than I am paternal, but it could be in both lines. So I would just ask yourself, where is that energy of not being able to express what you really want to be. What was that energy of them not being able to express what they really wanted to express? And even just giving yourself the opportunity to have a little bit of compassion for that as well. We don't want to add negativity or blame or shame or guilt to it. We just want to acknowledge that it existed, that it was there. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So a lot of tension in the heart, upper body, upper shoulders, that level of tension. So we're just releasing as much of that from him as we possibly can today, clearing that field. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like processing that information for somebody else. And he definitely doesn't like it when he doesn't know why he does what he does, So we're going to just, appreciate him, love him, see it as a capacity, and also have love and compassion for, looks like maybe your parents. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. All right. What else?
All right. This question is, my 5-year-old daughter has an ear infection in her left ear, and I'm curious to know what the energetics are behind that.
Well, part of it is, well, there's a couple different layers. We can look at these things from multiple dimensions. There does seem to be some kind of an allergic reaction, or some kind, like on a physical level, there seems to be some kind of allergen is what I'm hearing or seeing, that it seems to be blocking up that ear. So I would take a look at that, as far as, just so we don't have repeated expressions of this allergen. So I would take a look at that and see what that might be for her. And then let me see what else here. What I heard is, I need somebody to tell me how creative I am. I need somebody to tell me how, just how special I am, how amazing I am. It's like she's what do I want to say? Yeah, it's almost, she's instead of, I'm not willing to hear something, which is a lot of times blocked ears, especially in adults, can be, I'm not, like, a lack of willingness to hear something. Hers is more a different phase of that. It's like, I'm not hearing all the things that are really amazing about me. I'm not hearing all of the things that encourage, I'm not hearing all the things that encourage me to be more of me, and she's just saying, I'm here to be what I am. I'm not here to be what somebody else is. And in being here as what I am, it's like, I'm going to shut off that intuitive side. If I'm not hearing that from the outside, I'm going to pay attention to that on the inside. Yeah. So, yeah, let me see if there's anything else. There is definitely some allergen going on too. And let's see what else. In some ways, you could say, it's like, in some ways, it's like, tell me the things I want to hear, but it's not from it's not from a little ego or something like that. It's just, tell me the things that I want to hear. Tell me the things that are encouraging for me. It's really important that I hear those, and that I kind of hear those right now. So whatever she's moving through right now, the ear infection is just kind of like a byproduct of that. It's not the actual cause. And so she just is feeling like she needs a lot of encouragement right now. Yeah.
Okay. This one says, my autistic 6-year-old eats her feces. What is this about?
Mhm. Okay. It, it sounds odd, but it's almost, this is really interesting. I have never seen it really put to me this way. It's like nutrition gathering information. It's almost like what is in the stool is you literally a byproduct of what is nutritionally available to her. Um, uh, yeah, it's almost like a it's almost like a biofeedback mechanism in some ways. It's telling what is available nutritionally and what isn't available nutritionally. And so one of the things that I'm hearing is that obviously address this as a behavioral kind of issue, so we're really going to want to address it from a behavioral perspective. But also, what I am hearing is one of the things that will help to eliminate the behavior a bit is to shift up the nutrition of, and the thing that I'm hearing that's missing or that is required is minerals. It's almost like it, it sounds bizarre maybe, but it's like she's looking for or attempting to get minerals that she's not getting, or she doesn't feel like she's getting, or unconsciously she is knowing that she doesn't have access to. So some type of increase in minerals, even maybe a little bit of trace minerals or something like that in smoothies or something like that. She's young, so she doesn't need a lot, maybe a few drops of that. And again, I'm not giving medical advice because I can't do that. But what I am offering is just what she's sharing back with me. So address it both from a behavioral standpoint, that's, not something that we're going to do that's going to make your belly sick, that's going to, that kind of thing. And also the acknowledgement that she's looking for information. This is not unlike a lot of kids who rub their noses up and down your arms or smell your neck or, lick on your skin. It's all information. It's information coming through that sensory system. And so in this case, she's just trying to find that. So I would go to minerals, and then I would also go to, give her information, tell her what she's doing, tell her what, you're noticing or that you now know she is doing. And then I would also go right into, she doesn't have to do that anymore if she's getting the right information directly into her nutrition or through her nutrition. So anyway, I hope that's helpful.
Okay, this question is, I've been with my partner 10 years. I've been feeling stuck sexually. I can't seem to get out of this rut of not having a good time. I'd like things to improve. I never thought I'd be the person who didn't enjoy sex. Any ideas on what I can do? And thank you.
Well, the first thing I hear is, and this is a bigger question, is like, really, it's like, what is it that you want for yourself at this time in your life? What is it that's important to you, both not just in the relationship, but and not just in that relationship, but in relationships across the board with friends, family, significant others, spouses. It's like, what is it that's really important to you at this stage of your life. And I would start offering that to yourself vibrationally first. And so, and I'm not just talking about sexually. I'm really talking more about the felt sensation or the felt experience of, so let's say you want more joy in your life, and sex is part of that joy experience, right? Or you'd like sex to be part of that joy experience. So what does joy actually feel like to you? Again, as a sexual experience or beyond that, what is that frequency of joy for you? And how does that lighten up your body? How does that elevate your thought process or your emotions? What does joy feel like in your body, just as an experience, just for the sake of, not because somebody else brings joy, sexually or otherwise, but just because you're choosing joy for yourself in that moment. And really, like tapping into that, feeling that as an energy. Yeah, right there. So what does joy feel like? What does that include? What is it that you want that helps to elevate that experience of joy? It's not, you're not looking for something to bring the joy. You're actually elevating the joy yourself. Yep. And then you're noticing what kinds of things in your reality add to that energy, bring you more joy. I'd go down that road because regardless, you really want this energy to come from the inside out instead of having an expectation that it's going to come from some other source, and much more likely that it will come from other sources when you're offering that energetic space to yourself, on a regular basis. And honestly, just a couple minutes, when you think about it during the day of, ooh, what would joy feel like right now? What would that, what would intimacy feel like? What would connection feel like? What would good sex feel like? Just literally give yourself the opportunity to place yourself in that position ahead of it ever showing up for you. Yep. Because then it's going to reorient your outer landscape to bring more of that into your reality. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, hope that's helpful.
All right, this question is, my 4-year-old grandson is undiagnosed, but I feel he is on the spectrum. Do you get a sense that he is? Why is he so small in height? And is he telepathic?
So let's see here. In this one, I honestly don't see a real reason to make that diagnosis or even to give, my thoughts on that. I feel like the characteristics that he exhibits that would kind of land him that diagnosis are really based more on, this is what I'm hearing. I don't know how accurate this is. I'm hearing it's more based on separation trauma. That might be his separation trauma, or it might be somebody else's in the lineage. But I'm seeing that behavioral kind of, those kind of characteristics in him anyway, are, just more based on separation trauma. And so what does somebody who has separation trauma require? They require a sense of connection. They require anything that you can offer them in support of being in their bodies, being connected to themselves, as well as being connected to other people in the household. You might notice too that there might have been some kind of disconnect or a requirement to be disconnected, like during the gestation or right after birth, where maybe there needed to be a separation of some sort, and that can be enough to kind of create that separation kind of anxiety or that stress. So let's clear some of that from his field. And again, regardless of if this is separation stress or it's that kind of pattern, nobody's broken and nobody's wrong here. We don't have to place blame or shame on anybody, because honestly, everybody involved kind of needs the same thing. Everybody is requiring a sense of connection, a sense of belonging, a sense of being safe in the presence of those around them. And so any way that we can encourage that verbally, energetically, for everybody involved is really supportive of everybody involved. Because it's just not about him. There's a way in which my guess is that his mom might feel a sense of separation as well. Yeah, or might have felt that. And so everybody needs the same thing here. Yeah, everybody could benefit from any contribution that can be made to them, both energetically, to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel a sense of belonging, and also in our words, in our encouragement towards them all. Yeah. So hope that helps.
All right, this next one is, I understand the role that belief plays in manifestation, yet at 69 in the world tells me that I am too old to begin the school. I've been waiting to create for some time. I also have the reminder of physical pain from some arthritis that kicks up the fear that maybe the world is right. Can you speak about this? And have I lost what I need to actually make this happen?
I get it. I do get it. I think that what's happening right now, especially through this month of November, we're really in this place of, again, let me say it this way, what we think is important at different stages of our life is important at different stages of our lives. At this phase, you might say, we are coming into this place where we want to be able to know that we can be in support of these different feelings, these different emotions, these different thought patterns, these conditioned imprints. We want to know that we can be supportive of all these different pieces and places within us that arise. And that becomes, you might say, that becomes the creation, you might say. That is where we are the most creative and in many ways the most powerful, because our opportunity or our capacity to be present to and meet all these different places and spaces that are arising within us gives us the opportunity to open to more creativity, to open to ways in which we can create now that we might not think we can because of, the imprinting that says you're limited by, a particular age bracket or something like that. It's in many ways, it's the furthest thing from the truth. And quite frankly, the more time that we have spent here on planet Earth, provided that we have spent that time learning how to be loving and compassionate and appreciative of the various aspects of ourselves, the more time that we have spent here doing that, the more wisdom we have, the more creativity is available to us. It might not look like what you think it should look like. It might not, let's say the ego's identity or the reality that you have created for yourself and what you think that should look like moving forward may not look like what you think it should look like. So if the creativity is spent in being, if the productivity is spent in being loving, kind, compassionate to the various aspects of you that show up, all of those aspects start dumping their wisdom and their creativity and their life force energy right back into you. So no, this is not over by any stretch. It's just a little different focus. The focus has been fairly external and what could be created in the external world, which I completely get because that is what most of humanity values as productive, as productivity. But that's not, it's actually not what's true for them, nor is it what's true, at different stages of our lives. So I would put your energy and attention into, loving kindness, compassion, appreciation, gratitude for all the capacity that you have, all the things that you have been productive in. Keep supporting that, keep loving those parts of yourself. If those are parts of the next iteration of you, then they'll just bloom. And if they're not, if there's another direction or a trajectory, then that's what will bloom. But inward first, connected to self first. Yep. Yeah. I hope that's helpful. Yeah. I can feel it just in the responses today. I mean, November's kind of no BS. It really is a turning point in the way we perceive ourselves and what we know is important. Because all of these things that have been considered important for lifetimes and definitely have been considered important by societal norms, especially in Western cultures, it's you just watch as this energy keeps moving and that keeps getting dismantled. There's going to be more and more of a curiosity around what is important now, and some of those basics, like being kind to ourselves, having a little bit of compassion where we might beat the shit out of ourselves, because we're not keeping up with some preconceived idea of what's supposed to be our life experience. These things are all, that boat's getting rocked, and it's getting rocked very strongly during November. So it's a great time for reevaluation, reexamination. It's a great time to encourage ourselves and to encourage those around us. And try to see what's beyond the facade, because just about everybody has some kind of shield up. We've all had to have a shield up. a protective mechanism. And so we just want to acknowledge that those shields are there and have a little compassion for the fact that they've had to be there. Yeah, and what would make that a little bit easier? What is required or desired? What's needed? What frequency? What vibration can we instill in ourselves so that we have what we need in any given moment? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sorry. More questions? No, I'm not sorry. What did I say that? Clear and cancel that one. Go ahead.
Okay, this one says, a lot of kiddos are having ear infections. I am wondering what we can clear for all of them.
Yeah. Well, and again, each child is different and unique and sovereign in their own right. So there are any number of reasons, again, why that could be taking place. If we go out to the broadest vantage point, you might say, and take a look at what that commonality might be, like right here, right now, is what I'm hearing is I think a lot of the kids are just done hearing the way human beings are to each other. I think that it's just close that off. I'm done hearing. I'm done hearing the justification for why it's okay to be mean to each other, as if I'm hearing it from a kid's voice, why do you have to be so mean? Yeah. And this isn't necessarily within their households. It can be. I mean, we know that when we are dealing with a lot of stress, which everybody on this planet has been for the last few years, we start kind of dropping to our least common denominator. We start, not handling things as kindly as we can. That can happen between husband and wife or, partners. We just kind of get a little bit more edgy. And so again, before we can shift that, we have to have a little bit of compassion for the situation, right? People are edgy because all of humanity is shifting a reality that they believe to be true. I will say all human beings to a certain degree have believed the reality of the outer world to be true. And they're finding out now that maybe it's not so true, or maybe it is even a little bit more challenging that maybe it is purposefully degrading, of the human experience. I mean, we are all that is, ever has been, ever will be. And when you consider what we've been conditioned to believe about ourselves, how much less than that we have been conditioned to, I think people are finally getting just a little bit, frustrated, irritated that that's not the experience, that's not their experience. And I think the kids are like kind of going, especially the younger ones, that are in that kind of ear infection age bracket, you might say. It's like, yeah, just turn off the sound. I'm done hearing it. It's painful to hear it. So let's clear as much of that from them as possible so that they can start maybe hearing the places and spaces where there is love and support and moments of laughter and joy and ease and grace, that's there too, you know? So let's just open them up to hearing that in the world, seeing that in the world, seeing that in their parents where it's available, encouraging them through the seeing of it to be more of that or to allow that for themselves. So we're opening, opening, opening. Yeah, there we go. Hoo-wee. Okay, keep opening. Hold on a second. Yeah, open, 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 open. All right, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Let me, I just want to share something. I had, my daughter yesterday went in for having her tonsils and adenoids and such removed, and she's 25. So it's not like she's a little kid going in and doing it. And so I needed to go into, it's been the first time I've been in a hospital, I'll say, for quite some time. And my daughter and I were having this conversation about the fact that you walk into the waiting room in the hospital, and of course, big screen TVs everywhere, and the mainstream media is there. And we were talking about the fact how almost like the vibration of that, is counterproductive, you might say, to healing. So we were listening to things on the nightly news or morning news about how there were so many children in the world that were impacted by the war in the Ukraine or this, that, or the other thing, and how they needed more information about it. So they were creating the nightly news for children. And I thought, oh, please, it's like, and you can hear that from that perspective, we want to give them information about what's going on. But when you listen to the energy of the nightly news, it just about, let me say it this way. There's nothing that comes out of that production, you might say, that is encouraging to the fact that we are all that is, ever has been, and ever will be. It's really, really, it was really challenging to listen to. And because I don't listen to it, in home, we had a great conversation about it. And then I went back because I had to was going to have a conversation with the surgeon about, about taking care of Laura afterwards and what was required and things like that. And what was interesting again is that we had a beautiful nurse standing there talking to Laura, putting in her IV, telling her just how amazing she was going to do and how wonderful, and this was going to be, she was going to get through this, blah blah blah. At the same time, I was sitting right next to her bed, close enough to touch her leg, and her doctor was there telling me all the things that could possibly go wrong right before she's getting ready to have the IV and telling me that I needed to, you can tell I still have a little energy around this, but telling me that I needed to wait in the waiting room until she was done. I said, no, I won't. I'm not going to do that. I'll be in my car. You guys can either text me or tell me how long the surgery is going to be. I'll come in. Well, why not? I said, because, the whole thing's kind of set up to be not really healing, not really helpful. And he said, it's just the news, put your earplugs in. And I said, I'll meet you in my car and when we're done, and I'll come back in. But what I want to say here is, all of us have a tendency to maybe not listen to those kinds of things, and we're not necessarily vested in that kind of experience. But what I want to say for energetically sensitive kids that are out there, this kind of energy is out in the collective. It's there. And so even that, the way we treat each other, and again, no blame or shame on this, surgeon or the the hospital staff or anything like that. It's just what they've been conditioned to. It's all they know how to do. And yet the other part of that is that unless we bring some awareness to that, unless we have those conversations, and as uncomfortable as they might be sometimes, if we don't bring those conversations or have those conversations, we don't bring any new awareness. And if we can do it from a place of not blaming or shaming, but hey, guess what? All of that heavy energy, all of that negativity, all of the, people are being killed and people are being raped and people are in the midst of a hospital setting is not very healing, right? And what was interesting by having that conversation, I did go to my car, and the the surgeon told me he could not come outside because it would break protocol, only to see him standing outside looking for me in the car. So I came to him, and he wanted to inform me that he had broken protocol for me and to come find me. And I was like, that's fine. Thank you for doing that. Let's go into the hospital so that you're not any longer breaking protocol. Let's keep you where you need to feel safe, right? And then he said to me, he goes, I understand why you didn't want to be in the waiting room. He goes, I listened to it as it came through to get you. And he goes, and it is terrible. He goes, I hate listening to it myself. And I was like, great. So maybe from that perspective, he changes that dynamic a little bit, at least for his patients. But this is out there rampant, and we just want to be able to have a little conversation about that when we have the opportunity to have it. And again, they've only been taught what they've been taught, but yeah, it was, thank goodness for amazing nurses, because we had two great ones, both going in and coming out. So yeah. All right. Any other questions, Sharon?
We have a lot.
Okay. Okay.
Let's do this next one and then we'll see where we're going to go.
Okay.
Over the last 6 weeks, I've experienced struggle with creating a website, power outages in my house due to electricity, short circuit, now have the flu, and I'm offering a workshop in late November, but no participants registered yet. Am I pushing too hard?
You've already answered that question for yourself. That's already, yeah, for sure. Again, it's let me say this again. November is just driving us deeper and deeper into ourselves. Again, what do we value? What do we think is important? What's not important? I get it that, having income is important. It's that part is really important. But let's say that is part of the struggle here, or even the creativity is not being, you're not getting feedback regarding your creativity and that kind of thing. So let's put you first. Let's just reverse things a little bit and let's put you first, because if you can be present to the different things that are coming up when it's, let's say, nobody showed up for, the offering, let's say. Well, when nobody shows up for the offering, there's some little person inside of you that is, might feel abandoned, or might feel like she's not enough, or might feel all kinds of experiences, right? And so we want to go right to her. We want to hold her, support her, love her, nurture her. When things like, I don't know about for you, but when I get a series of things that go off, Sharon can tell you, I get edgy really, really fast. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like we had Zoom go down the other day, and it was was just a matter of moments, you know, but it's like I couldn't connect to the people that were waiting for me for private sessions. And so immediately that energy comes up of, you know, feeling whatever you're feeling about that. It's like, you know, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm not there for them, or oh my gosh, I'm whatever, you know, whatever those thoughts are that come up, we just want to go right to them. And, you know, I've got you. Okay, let's breathe for a second. Let's move into some form of support of ourselves. Yep. And so just, you know, just moving right back into that heart space for you too, really opening that heart space, because so often when there are a series of things that aren't really kind of going with the flow, you might say, the heart kind of restricts and contracts and says, you know, something's quote unquote wrong. So right from that place, we want to be able to open that space back up, and let's just kind of counterbalance that a little bit. What if nothing's wrong? What if you are just being given the opportunity to feel things, and to choose things first for yourself? Yep. And especially when you're somebody who supports others, you know, all day, every day, or that's your focus is in supporting others, we can really begin to assume that that's where our value lies. And it's not true. It's an element of what hopefully brings us joy. But we want to make sure that we're just giving that back to ourselves. So that's where I would stay in this process with yourself. Yeah. What's coming up? Maybe how old is the one who's having those feelings? What does she need to hear? What encouragement does she need? Maybe she does need some downtime. She needs to be pampered a little bit. You know, it's all okay. Yep, that energy is much more likely to bring back the resources and the support and the health and well-being than any degree of beating yourself up or would do. That, yeah, that's just a conditioned response.
All right, so this one is, my 6-month-old baby is getting a lot of gas. He gets air bubbles and has to burp. This is affecting his sleep and is hard on both of us. Is there anything I can do physically or energetically to ease this?
Nursing bottles, if bottles, this looks like a digestive kind of issue. So there, if it's breast milk, there might be something that you're having that might be creating that. If it's formula of some sort, I would really suggest looking, you know, as much as you can as what's in that particular formula that you're choosing, because to me, this does look more like a digestive kind of issue. Grandmotherly advice, just from a human perspective, you know, is, you know, a lot of, pressure hit the belly of the baby, like on something like your knee or your shoulder, where there's a little bit of pressure into the stomach, can be really helpful in releasing some of that energy. Yeah, knees up, you know, pulling the knees up and pushing those, you know, more into the belly area, that can also help to release some of that. But what I'm seeing is more of a digestive, this is definitely more digestive. And I'm kind of looking at it, whatever he is drinking on a regular basis seems to be the culprit. Let me see. Oh. Is it, can we ask, does he have formula? Is he taking formula? Just a yes or a no? I think that's where it, don't know. Okay. So let me just say that if that's the case, I would just look at the ingredients there. For whatever reason, I'm just hearing like corn syrups and things like that. No, just breast milk. Okay, great. So if he's on breast milk, then I would just take a look at what might be coming through the breast milk. I don't know if you yourself have allergies or have are sensitive to certain things, but I would take a look at that just to see if that's filtering down through him. And, and sometimes even through breast milk, I mean, these kids coming in are so amazingly sensitive. They're so tuned into what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So as adults, we might, have things that have more artificial something in it, or I don't know why I keep hearing corn syrups. I don't know where it might be in your diet, but I would take a look and find out where that might be, or if it's there, because that seems like that's kind of coming through somehow. Let's see. Yeah. And again, it's no blame or shame. It's like, thank goodness. It's like, I'm so glad that you are nursing him and you're, supporting him in that way. And even in nursing that energy, I mean, the vibration even of certain allergens for you can make their way to him. So it's just more of, let's say, information gathering than anything else. Yeah, because even like energetically, I think I've said this, I think I've tapped in with him before, because he's clear. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing here. And so we just kind of want to keep the physical experience for him as comfortable as possible, because he's just going to sync up with what he needs to sync up with, as far as what he wants to do and where he wants to go. And he's crystal clear on, which is kind of fun to watch. So
my son wants to gain clarity in his overall human expression, wants his brain fog to dissipate for his memory to work and to be able to speak clearly. He has so much he wants to share in the typical conversation, as well as creative expression through writing and drawing, but his anxiety, brain fog, glitching memory, and OCD make it incredibly difficult for him to express what he wants. He shares his frustration daily. He asks for what we have started with in medication to help reduce his anxiety, which does seem to be helpful, but please share anything else that may want to tap in to help him moving forward.
I've never seen this for him before, or I don't remember saying this before. And maybe this is part of what is going on as far as like a foundational, fundamental shift in the physical world. But, and it'll sound trite, but it's exactly what's coming up. It's diet. It's some of the anxieties and some of that can be really more fully diminished by diet. And I know that this is probably one of the most challenging things for most parents, and especially as kids get older and have their own ideas about what they are going to you know, eat or not eat and those kinds of things. But what's interesting is that with the level of energetic sensitivity that is available here, that he has, and the capacity that he has, it's almost all I see happening is this clearing out at a biological level, like a foundational physical level. What can we clear of what goes in on a daily basis so that we can so that he can come into it. It's like, so he can just drop into himself, so he can come into some sense of feeling literally safe in the biology, like in the physicality of him. And what I'm seeing is, like, it's almost like the vibration of this high vibrational being, zzz, right? And you got the physical body, and this is trying to come in, and it comes in, and it literally, you know, if you put that kind of vibration into like a more static kind of energy, it's creating like anxiety, it's creating stress, it's creating oh, I don't feel very comfortable being here. What's going on? Maybe I got to take control of all of the things in my environment so I feel a little bit safe. So all of those characteristics seem to be related to the mismatch of the vibration of who he is in truth, which is always there, still there, and what the physical body can hold as its truth. And a lot of that is just a clearing out of the body. The digestive tract, for sure, will clearing out that gut brain will definitely positively impact the neurological brain, the heart brain, you know. And it's interesting because, you know, it feels like we've been working our way down in this kiddo, and now it's like this is in the gut. This is also in the gut. So yeah, so when we're talking about being kind to ourselves, being loving, being compassionate, we really want to look at, and I tell you, November is it. You know, it's like this is the pivot point. What are we putting in emotionally? What are we putting in physically? What are we putting in mentally? You know, and really just paying attention to that, because every single minor alteration that we make creates a pretty big shift or a pretty big lift. So it's worth the effort, and I realize that it is an effort. So for sure. Yeah. All right. So thank you for the questions, everybody. Sorry we didn't get to everyone's, but we will definitely pick those up next month. Let me see. See if there's anything else I want to say before we close. So I said this to a client the other day, and it just bears repeating here. There is so much energetic support for us, and we can call it in every day, any day, all day, right? We want to remember to call in the energetic support that is available to us in any given moment. And we also want to pay attention to our physicality, because without a place to land in our physicality, there really is no magic wand. You know, there's really no magic wand. And so we can call in energetic support to help it be as easy as possible. to find what's required for the body and to call in energetic support to have the wherefore the direction to take care of the body in whatever way it is needing our. And it's not, again, it's not always what you think it is. You know, so when you are requesting support for how to care for the body, let's say, then make sure you set it up in such a way that you're just not hearing yourself tell yourself what you've been conditioned to believe. Like, you know, well, let's take care of the body. Okay, well, that means you gotta do this, do that, you know, exercise more, go on a diet, go whatever. That's all conditioning, quite frankly. That might be part of it. But when you ask for support, one of the ways that sometimes is interesting to do that is just literally write it out. This is what I'm asking for support for. Write it down on a piece of paper, stick it in your back pocket, and then just tell that unseen energetic support to present the next step to you in a way that you can hear it. So you might, you know, stick it in your pocket and go for a walk and, you know, hear two people talking about something, anything. Pay attention to it. You know, it's, so I would just ask, write it down, and then be open to whatever is showing up as the next step that is for you. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So lots of love, everybody. Enjoy November. Just, you will be able to enjoy it too. Just be kind to yourselves during the process, because something wants to pop, something wants to release. And if it does, when it does, you are going to be perceiving yourselves from a very different lens than you have before, much more positive lens, a lighter lens. So, all right. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.